Have you ever felt it? A quiet, persistent feeling that you are playing a part in a play you never auditioned for. You say the right lines, you wear the right costume, and you hit your marks. People applaud. They tell you that you are doing a good job. But when the curtain falls and you are alone, you feel a deep and unsettling hollowness. It's the feeling of being a stranger in your own life, a well-rehearsed actor who has long forgotten what it feels like to be real, to be genuine. This feeling is not an accident. It is the result of a silent agreement we are all pushed into from the moment we are born. A grand, unspoken lie that is the very foundation of our modern world. It is whispered in classrooms, shouted in advertisements, and reflected in the anxious eyes of our peers. The lie is subtle, but its effects are profound. It shapes our ambitions, defines our fears, and quietly builds the walls of a prison we mistake for a sanctuary, a safe place to live out our days. The lie tells you there is a correct way to live, a checklist for a successful life. Graduate, get the job, buy the house, post the perfect pictures. It presents life as a pre-drawn map, where the goal is simply to follow the dotted line without deviation. We are taught to collect achievements like badges, to seek approval from others as the ultimate measure of our worth. We learn to measure our lives not by our own standards, but by the standards of the crowd, by the noise of popular opinion. And so we find ourselves in a strange and sterile place. Let's call it the Great Gallery of Conformity. All around you are statues, countless statues on identical pedestals. They are polished to a perfect shine, flawless and smooth. From a distance, they are impressive, but as you look closer, you realize they are all exactly the same. They share the same pose, the same vacant expression, the same manufactured perfection. This gallery is what society calls success, a hall of fame for those who fit in the best. You are one of these statues. You have spent your life allowing the world to polish you, to sand down your rough edges, to make you smooth and acceptable. You learned to hide your unique cracks and fissures, the very things that made you different. You were told these were imperfections that needed to be filled and smoothed over. The goal was to become a masterpiece of conformity, a perfect specimen that no one could possibly criticize. But the lie has a terrible cost. The cost is your own soul. In the process of becoming a perfect copy, you have sacrificed your original self. The more you are polished by the expectations of others, the more your own unique texture disappears. You become a reflection of what everyone else wants you to be, a hollow echo in a crowded room. You are praised for your smoothness, for your shine, but deep down you know the truth. You know that something vital has been lost, something wild and true has been paved over. This is the quiet despair of the modern age. We are surrounded by connection but have never been more alone. We are praised for our achievements but feel a profound lack of meaning. We stand in this great gallery, polished and admired, yet we feel like frauds. We look at our own reflection in the gleaming surface of our neighbor and see nothing but the same emptiness, the same hollow perfection. We are safe, we are approved of, but we are not alive. This creates a deep and gnawing anxiety, the fear of being discovered, the fear that someone will tap on your polished surface and hear that you are hollow inside. So we double down. We strive for an even higher polish, a more prestigious pedestal, a better spot in the gallery. We believe that if we just fit in a little better, if we just become a little more perfect, this feeling of unease will finally go away. This is the central trap, the engine that keeps the gallery running. It's a game you can never win, because it is designed to keep you constantly striving and perpetually dissatisfied. There will always be a statue that seems shinier, a pedestal that is slightly taller. This is the great hamster wheel of social validation. It promises fulfillment just around the next corner, but the corner never comes. You are running faster and faster, not towards a destination, but simply to avoid the terrifying feeling of standing still and facing the emptiness of the race itself. So we must ask the forbidden question, the question that threatens to shatter the silence of the gallery. What if the entire goal is wrong? What if the point of life is not to become a perfect, polished copy in a museum of conformity? What if our true purpose lies not in fitting in but in breaking out? This question is the first tremor, the first crack in the polished marble. It is the beginning of a rebellion, not against others, but against the lie we have told ourselves. When we first feel this sense of unease, Our instinct is to follow the gallery's rules even harder. This is the common trap. We think, if I'm unhappy, it must be because I'm not a good enough statue. We chase a promotion, a new title, more followers, a more expensive possession. We seek a bigger, more ornate pedestal, believing that a change in our external position will fix the internal emptiness. We believe that a better location in the gallery will somehow make the gallery itself meaningful. We might try to change our polish. We adopt new hobbies, new styles, new political opinions, not because they are genuinely ours, but because they are the correct ones for the social circle we want to impress. We are not changing our substance, only our surface. It's like a statue being painted a different color. This is the illusion of progress without any real change. We are rearranging the furniture in our prison cell and calling it freedom. We spend years of our lives climbing a ladder, only to realize when we reach the top that it has been leaning against the wrong wall the entire time. The wrong wall is the lie of the gallery itself. The flawed solution is to become the best possible prisoner, rather than questioning if you should be in prison at all. Think of how much energy we expend in this game. The anxiety of saying the right thing, the exhaustion of maintaining a persona, the constant, low-level fear of being judged. It is a full-time job with no pay, and the only reward is the temporary relief of not being criticized. This constant performance drains us of the very energy we would need to do something truly meaningful, to create something new, to become someone authentic. We are too busy polishing our surfaces to ever look within. The gallery rewards this behavior. It gives medals for conformity. It celebrates those who play the game best. It creates influencers and celebrities who are often just the most perfectly polished statues on the most prominent pedestals. We are shown these figures as the ideal, the pinnacle of success. But we rarely see the immense pressure, the hollowness, and the quiet desperation that often lies behind the perfect, curated image. Why does this flawed solution fail every single time? Because it is a solution for the wrong problem. The problem is not that your statue is imperfect. The problem is that you believe you are a statue in the first place. You can repolish, repaint, or relocate a statue, but it will never come to life. It will always be an object, defined from the outside. True fulfillment can never come from improving your mask. It can only come from having the courage to take it off. So you try, and yet the feeling of emptiness remains. In fact, it grows worse. With every false achievement, with every hollow compliment, the gap between your outer persona and your inner self widens. You become two people, the polished statue on display, and the silent, screaming consciousness trapped inside. This internal split is the source of so much of our modern anxiety and depression. It is the soul's rebellion against the tyranny of the false self. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche saw this trap with terrifying clarity over a century ago. He called the morality of the gallery herd morality. It is a system of values created by the group to keep the group safe, predictable, and controllable. It praises what is useful to the herd, being tame, agreeable, and industrious. And it demonizes what is dangerous to the herd, being different, unpredictable, and powerful. It is the morality of sheep, designed to keep the wolves at bay. The common trap is to become the best possible sheep, to have the whitest wool to baa at the right time, to follow the shepherd obediently. There is a certain comfort in it, a warmth in being part of the flock. But for Nietzsche, this was the ultimate sacrifice of human potential. You trade the possibility of soaring like an eagle for the safety of waddling with the ducks. You choose comfort over greatness, security over your own soul. This path leads to what Nietzsche called the last man, the ultimate product of the gallery. He is a creature who desires only comfort and security. He takes no risks, has no great loves or great hatreds. He is content, bland, and utterly insignificant. We have invented happiness, say the last men, and they blink. They have traded their potential for greatness for a life free of struggle, and in doing so, have made life itself meaningless. This is the dead end of the common trap. Think about the moments you have felt most alive. Were they moments of quiet conformity? Or were they moments of risk, of passion, of authentic expression? When you spoke a difficult truth, when you created something from your heart, when you loved someone without reservation. These moments are glimpses of the life that exists outside the gallery walls. They are proof that your true nature is not static and polished, but dynamic, wild, and creative. The failure of the common solution reveals a powerful truth. You cannot find what you are looking for by using the gallery's map. You cannot become authentic by following the rules of inauthenticity. The tools that society gives you are perfect for building a cage, but they are useless for achieving liberation. To escape, you don't need a better place in the gallery. You need to realize that you are not, and have never been, a statue. This realization is terrifying. It means abandoning the only system of value you have ever known. It means stepping off your pedestal into the unknown. The other statues will watch you. They will whisper. They will call you a fool, a failure. They will tell you that you are destroying your own beauty, that you are ruining your perfectly polished surface. To them, a crack is a sign of decay. They cannot comprehend that it could be a sign of birth. For years you believed the lie that your value came from your flawless exterior. You worked tirelessly to maintain it. And now, you must face the possibility that your real value lies in the exact opposite direction. It lies in the courage to crack, to break, to shatter the smooth facade and see what is underneath. It is the terrifying, liberating moment when a prisoner realizes the door to his cell has been unlocked the entire time. This is the turning point, the pivot from which a new life becomes possible. It is the moment you stop asking, "How can I fit in better?" and start asking, "Who am I really underneath all of this?" This is not a question the gallery can answer for you. It is a question you can only answer for yourself, with your own hands, with your own courage, and with your own life. The journey out of the gallery is the journey into the self. And in that moment of profound crisis, a new thought emerges. It is not a voice from the gallery, but a whisper from within. It is the echo of Nietzsche's radical idea, become who you are. The thought is simple, but its implications are explosive. It suggests that you are not a finished product. You are not a static object to be polished and displayed. You are a process. You are a potential. You are living, breathing, unformed matter. Suddenly you feel a strange weight in your hands. You look down and for the first time you see them. A hammer and a chisel. They are not made of polished marble but of rough, heavy iron. They feel real. They feel powerful. And you realize in a flash of insight that changes everything, that these tools have been in your hands all along. You were just taught to ignore them, to keep your hands still and your surface smooth. This brings us to the central truth, the revolutionary idea that shatters the lie of the gallery. The greatest lie is that your value is defined by how well you fit in. The truth is that your purpose is to sculpt your own unique self from the raw material of your life. You are not the statue. You are the sculptor. Your life is not a showroom. It is a workshop. And the flaws, the cracks, the struggles, they are not mistakes. They are the marks of creation. This is the moment of true awakening. The realization that you are not just a creation, but a creator. The power to define yourself was never in the hands of the crowd, the critics, or the culture. It was always within you. Society gave you a polishing cloth and told you that was all you needed. But your soul has been crying out for the hammer and the chisel. It doesn't want to be shined. It wants to be shaped. What does it mean to be a sculptor of your own soul? It means you must be willing to do the hard work of chipping away everything that is not you. Every belief you accepted without question, every fear you inherited from others, every desire that was planted in you by an advertisement. Each of these things is a layer of soft, unneeded stone that hides the true, hard form of your authentic self beneath. This is not a gentle process. It can be painful. To chisel away a long-held belief is to feel a part of you break. To confront a deep-seated fear is to strike at the very foundation of your comfortable world. The other statues in the gallery will call this self-destruction. They will see the chips of marble on the floor and think you are falling apart. They cannot understand that you are not destroying, you are revealing. Nietzsche's philosophy is not about finding yourself, as if your true self were a hidden object waiting to be discovered. It is about creating yourself. You are not searching for a pre-existing form in the marble. You are deciding with every strike of the hammer what that form will be. You are the artist, and your own character is your masterpiece. This is the ultimate freedom and the ultimate responsibility. This pivot requires immense courage. It is the courage to be disliked, the courage to be misunderstood. The gallery, functions on agreement. When you begin to sculpt your own values, you are by definition disagreeing with the prepackaged values of the crowd. You are choosing your own path, and for many, a path not taken by the crowd is a path to be feared and condemned. You must be willing to walk it alone. This solitude, however, is not loneliness. It is the necessary condition for creation. An artist cannot create a masterpiece with a crowd of critics shouting in their ear. They must retreat to the studio, to the quiet space where their own vision can become clear. Your solitude is your workshop. It is the sacred space where you can finally hear your own voice, where you can swing the hammer without fear of judgment. The transition from statue to sculptor is the most important journey a human being can take. It is the journey from being a passive object shaped by the world to an active subject who shapes themselves. It is the difference between a life of reaction and a life of creation. It is the difference between being a character in someone else's story and becoming the author of your own. This is what it means to be truly free. This path is not for everyone. Nietzsche was an elitist in this sense. He believed most people would choose the comfort of the herd. They would choose the safety of the gallery. They would rather be a polished, celebrated copy than a struggling, misunderstood original. And that is their choice. But the path is there for those who dare to take it, for those who hear the call of their own uncarved soul. So you stand there, hammer and chisel in hand, the smooth, blank canvas of your former self before you. The fear is real. The uncertainty is vast. But for the first time, the hollowness is gone. In its place is a sense of thrilling, terrifying potential. The potential to create a life that is authentically your own. You are no longer waiting for meaning to be given to you. You are about to forge it with your own hands. This journey is what Nietzsche called self-overcoming. It is not a one-time event, but a constant process. Every day you wake up, you pick up the tools. Every day you face a choice, to polish the old surface or to bravely chip away at it, revealing something truer and more real. You are not just overcoming the world's expectations. You are overcoming your own past self, your own comfort, your own limitations. The lie of the gallery is that your story is already written. The truth of the sculptor is that you are holding the pen, or in this case, the chisel. The blank page is terrifying, but it is also the source of all possibility. You can now begin to tell a new story, a story of your own making. It will be a story of struggle and triumph, of pain and beauty, but it will be your story. And that is the only story that matters. Let us now enter the workshop. Let's illuminate the wisdom of the sculptor and understand the practical art of self-creation. This is where philosophy stops being a theory and becomes a practice. It's time to learn how to use the tools. It's time to learn how to strike the stone. It's time to learn the art of becoming who you are, step by step, choice by choice, blow by blow. The masterpiece is waiting to be born. The first act of the sculptor is to reevaluate all values. You must hold up every belief you have to the light and ask, is this truly mine? Or did I simply absorb it from the gallery? Think of your beliefs about success, about happiness, about love. Were they chosen by you, or were they given to you? This is the process of chipping away the big, foundational chunks of marble that are not part of your essential design. Nietzsche urges us to embrace what he called amor fati, a love of one's fate. This means accepting everything that has happened in your life, the good and the bad, as necessary. The sculptor does not curse the block of marble for its flaws, its grain, or its tough spots. They see these things as the unique character of the stone they must work with. Your past, your struggles, your flaws, they are not hindrances. They are the raw material for your greatness. The sculptor must find joy in the struggle itself. The gallery teaches us to value only the finished product, the polished result. But the true artist, the true creator, loves the process. They love the dust, the sweat, the resistance of the stone. They find meaning in the act of creation itself. You must learn to love the feeling of the hammer in your hand and the sight of the chips flying. Life's meaning is not found at the destination, but in the journey of becoming. One of the biggest pieces to chisel away is the fear of pain. The gallery promises a life free from pain, a life of comfort. But a life without pain is a life without growth. The sculptor knows that to create a new form, the stone must be broken. Your muscles ache after a workout because they are growing stronger. Your heart aches after a loss because you dared to love deeply. Pain is not a signal that you are failing. It is often a signal that you are living authentically. The sculptor must be a master of perspective. From up close, a single strike of the chisel may seem destructive and ugly. It's just a dent in the stone. But from a distance, with the vision of the final piece in mind, that single strike is a necessary step towards beauty. When you are going through a difficult time, try to zoom out. See this moment not as a random misfortune, but as a necessary chisel strike in the grand sculpture of your life. Listen to your body. The gallery teaches us to live in our heads, to follow abstract rules and ideas. But your body, your instincts, your gut feelings, these are the voice of your own unique nature. Nietzsche called this the wisdom of the body. The sculptor doesn't just follow a blueprint, they feel the stone. They listen to its vibrations. Learn to listen to yourself. Your feelings of excitement, of dread, of passion, they are your chisel, guiding you towards what you must carve or what you must chip away. The sculptor creates their own virtues. The gallery has one set of virtues: be nice, be helpful, be agreeable. Nietzsche argues that the creator, the noble soul, defines their own morality. For a sculptor, good is what makes the sculpture more powerful, more unique, more authentic. Bad is what makes it more generic, more fearful, more like the other statues. Your virtue might be courage, while another's is discipline and another's is radical honesty. You must define your own code. This means embracing what the gallery calls your flaws. Perhaps you are too loud, too quiet, too intense, too sensitive. The gallery told you to sand these qualities down. The sculptor sees them as the most interesting parts of the marble. Your intensity is not a flaw, it is the source of your passion. Your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is the source of your empathy and artistic insight. Do not hide your unique textures. Carve them, define them, and make them the centerpiece of your work. The sculptor must be patient. A masterpiece is not carved in a day. Self-creation is the work of a lifetime. There will be days when you feel you have made no progress, when the stone feels too hard, when your vision is unclear. This is part of the process. On these days, you do not abandon the workshop. You simply sharpen your tools, you study the stone, you rest, and you trust that the act of showing up day after day is what ultimately creates the sculpture. This is the opposite of the gallery's demand for instant gratification. The gallery wants quick results, visible progress, and constant updates. The work of the soul is slow, quiet, and often invisible to the outside world. You must find your reward not in the applause of the crowd, but in the quiet satisfaction of a well-placed chisel strike, in the knowledge that you were true to your own vision today, even if no one else saw it. To become a sculptor, you must embrace the concept of the Übermensch, or overman. This is not about being a superhero. It is about being a human who has overcome the lie of the gallery, who has overcome their own petty fears and desires, and who now creates their own meaning in the world. The overman is the finished sculpture, not because it is perfect, but because it is a complete and total expression of its creator's will. It is a bridge to a new way of being human. The sculptor is not against others, but they are radically for themselves. This is not selfishness in the petty sense. A beautiful sculpture enriches the world. A person who has authentically created themselves has more to offer others than someone who is just a hollow copy. Their passion, their courage, and their unique perspective become a gift to the world, a light that shows others what is possible outside the gallery. A key tool for the sculptor is play. The gallery is serious, rigid, and full of rules. The workshop of the soul should be a place of experimentation and joyful discovery. Nietzsche said that maturity is rediscovering the seriousness one had as a child at play. Play with ideas, play with your identity, try things on just to see how they feel. A sculptor doesn't know exactly how a curve will look until they carve it. Be willing to experiment, to make mistakes, to laugh at your own process. The sculptor knows that their greatest enemy is not the critic outside, but the herd inside. That little voice in your head that whispers, "Be careful. What will they think? Don't stand out." This is the voice of the gallery's guard installed in your own mind. The act of sculpting is a constant defiance of this inner guard. With every brave choice, its voice gets weaker and your own voice gets stronger. You are taking back control of your own inner territory. This process leads to a different kind of happiness. The gallery's happiness is the absence of pain, comfort. The sculptor's happiness is the feeling of power, not power over others, but power over oneself. It is the joy that comes from growth, from overcoming challenges, from the full expression of one's abilities. It is a tense, vibrant, and dynamic state of being, not the placid, sleepy contentment of the last man. It is the happiness of a god at play. To truly sculpt, you must learn to forget. You must forget the insults and the praise of the gallery. Both are chains that tie you to the judgment of others. The sculptor cannot be swayed by a critic who says the work is ugly, nor by one who says it is perfect. They have their own internal vision, their own standard of excellence. You must cultivate this inner compass, this unshakable sense of your own direction, independent of the winds of public opinion. The sculptor understands that suffering is a tool. The gallery sees suffering as a problem to be medicated, distracted from, or avoided at all costs. The sculptor sees suffering as a particularly sharp chisel. It is the tool that carves the deepest, most meaningful lines. It carves away arrogance, deepens compassion, and reveals a strength you never knew you possessed. Do not waste your suffering. Use it. Let it make you not weaker, but more profound. Every choice is a chisel strike. The food you eat, the books you read, the people you spend time with, the thoughts you entertain, every single one is either polishing the old statue or carving the new one. There are no neutral actions. You are either reinforcing the lie of the gallery or you are building your own truth. This realization brings a great sense of responsibility, but also an immense sense of power. You are sculpting yourself in every moment. The sculptor must eventually leave the workshop and test their creation in the world. But you do not return to the gallery to seek approval. You enter the world to act, to live, to express the new values you have forged. Your life itself becomes the exhibition. You are not asking for a grade. You are making a statement. You live your truth not in a sterile, controlled environment, but in the messy, chaotic, beautiful reality of human existence. This is the path of the free spirit, as Nietzsche called it. The free spirit is not bound by tradition or dogma. They are a perpetual experimenter, a questioner, a wanderer. They are loyal not to a place or a group, but to their own ongoing journey of growth. They can dance in chains, finding freedom even in constraint. They are the ultimate artists of life, turning everything they encounter into material for their self-creation. Let's focus on the hands. The sculptor's hands must be both strong and sensitive, strong enough to swing the hammer with force and break apart old habits and fears, sensitive enough to guide the chisel with precision, to feel the subtle grain of the marble, and to know when a light touch is needed. You must cultivate this duality in yourself, the brute force to shatter your limitations, and the gentle wisdom to shape your newfound freedom with care and artistry. What of love? In the gallery, love is often about possession, about finding another perfect statue to place on a pedestal next to yours. The sculptor's love is different. It is the love of two fellow artists who admire each other's work and support each other's process. It's not about completing each other, but about challenging and inspiring each other to become more fully themselves. It is a shared dance of creation, not a static display of ownership. The sculptor must learn to destroy. This sounds frightening, but creation is always an act of destruction. To build a new house, you must clear the land. To paint a new masterpiece, you must start with a blank canvas, destroying its emptiness. To sculpt your true self, you must be willing to destroy the comfortable, false self you have built. You must be the sacred fire that burns away the dead wood to allow for new growth. Where do you find the vision for your sculpture? It is not a blueprint you find in a book. It is a whisper you hear in your deepest moments of silence. It is the feeling of rightness that comes when you are engaged in an activity that makes you forget time. It is the pull towards a certain kind of beauty, a certain kind of strength. Your vision is not an idea in your head. It is the unique resonance of your own soul. You find it by listening. This work will make you lonely at times. When you step out of the gallery, you leave the crowd behind. But you must distinguish between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone. It is in solitude that you find the space to create. You must befriend your solitude, see it not as a punishment, but as your most precious resource, the sacred ground of your becoming. The sculptor must be an archer who sets a goal far beyond their current reach. Nietzsche's idea of the overman is not meant to be a destination you arrive at, but a star you aim for. By aiming for the impossible, for the highest and most powerful version of yourself, you will stretch and grow in ways you never could if you aimed for something safe and achievable. Your goal is not to hit the star, but to become a better archer in the process of shooting for it. The sculptor is a dancer. Life is not a problem to be solved, but a rhythm to be danced with. You must learn to be light, to move with the changing rhythms of fortune, to find grace in difficulty. The gallery statues are rigid, fixed, and heavy. The sculptor is fluid, adaptable, and light. To dance is to affirm life in all its chaos and uncertainty, to say yes to the music, whatever it may be. Beware of new galleries. Once you begin to find success as a creator or an individual, society will rush to build a new gallery around you. The nonconformist gallery, the artist gallery. They will try to turn your authentic creation into a new, marketable stereotype. You must be vigilant. The process of sculpting never ends. As soon as you feel you have arrived, as soon as you get comfortable on a new pedestal, it's time to pick up the hammer again. The sculptor gives gifts but does not expect a return. Your greatest gift to the world is your own self-realization. You give it freely. The gallery operates on transactions. I will give you this approval if you give me that conformity. The creator operates on overflow. You become so full of life, of passion, of power, that it simply spills out of you and enriches the world. You give because giving is an expression of your abundance. This path requires a kind of ruthlessness. You must be ruthless with your own weaknesses, your own excuses, your own desire for comfort. Not out of self-hatred, but out of a profound self-love. A sculptor who loves their vision is ruthless with any imperfection that stands in its way. You must love the person you are capable of becoming so much that you are willing to destroy the person you are right now to make way for them. The sculptor's perspective on time changes. The gallery is obsessed with the past, your record, and the future, your potential achievements. The sculptor lives in the eternal now. The only time creation can happen is this moment. The past is the uncarved stone. The future is the unrealized vision. But the work, the joy, the power, it all exists in the present moment of the chisel striking the marble. This is where you are truly alive. Forget the idea of a balanced life. The gallery sells this idea of perfect, calm balance. But great art is never balanced in that way. It is full of tension, passion, and daring choices. A life of creation is not about balancing your spreadsheet of duties. It's about pouring your entire self into what matters most to you. It is a life of glorious, passionate imbalance, dedicated to the creation of your masterpiece. Laughter is one of your sharpest chisels. You must learn to laugh at the absurdities of the gallery, at its petty dramas and its self-important statues. But most importantly, you must learn to laugh at yourself, at your own seriousness, your own mistakes, your own grand ambitions. Laughter creates distance. It breaks the spell of holy seriousness that keeps you trapped. It is the sound of freedom. The ultimate goal is to integrate the creator and the creation, to reach a point where your way of living is a perfect expression of your deepest values, where there is no gap between what you believe and how you act. You are no longer a sculptor working on a separate object. The sculptor and the sculpture have become one. Your life itself is the work of art. This is the state of the overman. So you work. In the quiet of your workshop, you chip away, you carve, you polish not to please others but to bring out the inner light of the stone. You follow your own strange, beautiful, terrifying vision. You ignore the whispers from the gallery. You embrace the pain, the joy, the struggle. And slowly, over a lifetime of dedicated creation, something new begins to emerge, something the world has never seen before. And then comes the moment of synthesis. The aha moment. You step back from your work, your hands tired, your workshop a mess, and you look at what you have made. It is not the smooth, predictable, pleasing statue that the gallery demanded. It is something else entirely. It is rugged, asymmetrical, and full of the marks of the struggle. It is covered in the scars of its own creation, and it is breathtakingly beautiful. In that moment, you understand. The point was never to achieve a state of perfection. The point was to achieve a state of authenticity. The beauty of your sculpture is not in its flawlessness, but in its honesty. Every line, every curve, every rough edge tells the true story of your journey, your values, your loves, your pain. It is a perfect expression of your imperfect, unique, and glorious life. It is you, finally made manifest. Now look back at the gallery. From this new perspective, you see it for what it is, a hall of ghosts, a collection of hollow shells polished to a meaningless gleam. You feel no anger towards them, only a kind of sad pity. They chose safety over substance, approval over authenticity. They are not living, they are merely not dying. You see with absolute clarity that their judgment is meaningless, their praise is a trap, and their world is a cage. The central thesis now rings with the power of lived experience. The greatest lie was that your value was defined by how well you fit in. The profound truth is that your purpose, your meaning, your entire reason for being was to become the sculptor of your own soul. You were never meant to be a product on a shelf. You were born to be a creator, and your own life was your one and only canvas. You have overcome the need for approval. You have overcome the fear of being different. You have overcome the small, timid self that only wanted to be safe. You have hammered and chiseled and carved your way into a new state of being. You are the sculptor, the sculpture, and the triumphant act of creation all in one. You are a law unto yourself. You are a source of your own value. This is the joy Nietzsche spoke of, not the giggling happiness of a child, but the deep, resonant joy of a God who looks upon their creation and says, "It is good." It is a joy born of struggle, earned through courage, and sustained by a radical commitment to your own truth. It is the feeling of your life being in perfect alignment with your deepest self. It is the feeling of being, at last, truly and completely home. The journey from statue to sculptor is the hero's journey for the modern soul. It's the path from conformity to creation, from being an effect of the world to being a cause in your own life. It is the answer to the hollowness, the anxiety, and the quiet despair. The cure is not to find a better place in the gallery, but to have the courage to smash your own pedestal and begin the terrifying, glorious work of carving your own form. All the threads come together in this one image, a being who refused to be defined from the outside, a being who chose the terrifying freedom of self-creation over the comfortable slavery of conformity, a being who learned to turn their suffering into art, their flaws into features, and their life into a masterpiece. This is not a myth or a fantasy. This is the real potential that lies dormant within you, waiting for you to pick up the tools. The lie society wants you to believe is that you are small and that you need it to tell you who to be. The truth Nietzsche offers is that you are vast and that your noblest task is to give birth to your own values, your own purpose, and your own self. You are the uncarved block of marble and you are the master sculptor. You are the problem and you are the solution. This is the moment of pure clarity, the moment the music of your own life becomes audible. The noise of the gallery fades to nothing, and all that is left is the clear, strong, beautiful note of your own authentic being. You are not a success or a failure by anyone else's measure. You simply are, and that is more than enough. It is everything. Now the metaphor dissolves. The gallery, the statue, the sculptor, let them fade away. Let's bring this home into the quiet of your own mind. The hammer and the chisel are not in your hands, they are in your choices. The marble is not a block of stone. It is your own character, your own time, your own attention. You are not building a statue for others to see. You are cultivating a way of being for you to live. Every day you are faced with 1,000 small choices. The choice to scroll mindlessly or to read something that challenges you. The choice to repeat a convenient lie or to speak a difficult truth. The choice to follow the crowd or to listen to that quiet inner voice. None of these choices are small. Each one is a chisel strike. Each one is a decision. Are you polishing or are you carving? This isn't about becoming a different person. It's about becoming more of the person you already are, underneath all the layers of expectation and fear you have accumulated. It's a process of removal, of purification. You are not adding a mask. You are taking one off. The goal is to close the gap between who you are on the inside and how you live on the outside, until there is no gap at all. Don't look for a grand, dramatic moment to begin. The work is done in the small, unglamorous moments of your daily life. It is done when you choose to go to the gym instead of staying on the couch. It is done when you choose to apologize when you are wrong. It is done when you choose to spend an hour working on your secret passion instead of watching another episode. It is the steady, consistent application of your will that creates the masterpiece. The world will not celebrate this inner work. There are no awards for self-overcoming, no promotions for authenticity. You must be willing to do the work for its own sake, for the profound, private satisfaction of becoming a person you genuinely admire. Your reward is not the approval of the crowd, but the quiet, unshakable integrity of your own soul. So the philosophy is not just an idea to be understood. It is a life to be lived. It is not about quoting Nietzsche. It is about embodying his challenge. It is a call to action, a declaration of war on the polite, comfortable lies that keep us small, and a declaration of allegiance to the wild, difficult, and beautiful truth of our own potential. Do not be discouraged by the difficulty. If the path were easy, everyone would walk it, and it would lead nowhere special. The value of the destination is measured by the hardship of the journey. Every moment of struggle is forging you. Every temptation to quit that you resist is hardening your will. The difficulty is not an obstacle on the path. The difficulty is the path. You do not need to have a grand vision of your finished masterpiece to begin. You only need to know the direction of more true. With each choice, ask yourself, does this make me more generic or more uniquely myself? Does this expand me or does it shrink me? Does this serve my fear or does it serve my growth? Let the answer to these questions guide your chisel, one strike at a time. This is a life of dangerous unselfishness. You become so dedicated to the selfless task of creating yourself that you no longer have time for the selfish anxieties of the ego. Your focus shifts from, what do they think of me, to what am I creating? This is the ultimate integration, where your personal growth becomes your greatest service to the world. So I will not leave you with a list of things to do. The gallery gives you checklists. I will leave you with a single, transformative question. A question to carry with you, to ask yourself in moments of doubt and decision. A question that holds the key to your liberation. A question that, if you dare to answer it honestly, will change the entire course of your life. The question is this: now that you know you hold the hammer and the chisel, now that you know the lie of the gallery and the truth of the workshop, who will you dare to become? What glorious, unique, and terrifyingly authentic sculpture will you carve from the raw, precious marble of your own life? The stone is before you. The tools are in your hands. The silence is waiting. The lie is comfortable. The truth is a challenge. But in that challenge lies the only path to a life that is not just lived but created. A life that has weight, texture, and meaning. A life that is its own justification, its own work of art. Do not die as a perfect copy. Have the courage to live as a magnificent, flawed, and authentic original. The world does not need more polished statues. It does not need more hollow echoes. It needs you, in all your strange, powerful, and unique glory. It needs the gift that only you can create by having the courage to become who you truly are. Your real work is not to find your place in the world, but to create a world so true to yourself that your place in it is undeniable. The gallery will always be there, whispering its promises of safety and approval, but from now on you will recognize its voice, and you will know that you have a choice. The choice to remain a polished stone or the choice to become a creator of mountains. Choose well, and if this message sparked something in you, explore more ideas for your journey.